watching blue sunset in Mile High here in Broncos country. Let's get ready to ride. Russ and the rest are gonna light up the sky. We'll break it down after the game with the guys. Hometown heroes with their own sports bar. The best coverage in Denver. Don't go too far. Just turn on DNVR.
Video.
We are
Doesn't matter.
No.
DNVR Broncos Live. Presented
doesn't.
by DraftKings Sportsbook.
This game doesn't matter?
Oh,
you guys said?
It doesn't matter.
It's only October.
What could I have been talking about? Could have been
Wow.
anything.
It'll be a secret.
Did I say presented by DraftKings Sportsbook? Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Do you guys know who it's presented by? DraftKings
Draft-
Sportsbook.
Oh my
Kings
god! If you're not gonna listen when you talk, then who is?
That's such a great point. It's like my mom used to tell me, if you don't love yourself, no one will love you. And I really took that to heart.
Wow. Yeah, I would say you love yourself.
Yeah.
Which one did you? That's what you chose. Good
annoying.
call.
Considering the conversation
frustrating.
we just had about how I think I should be the next Buffs head coach.
Yeah.
How you would survive and
What
be
could go
great.
wrong? Survive.
Lifetime contract.
I'm not trying to survive.
No,
I'm
you'd be
trying
hung.
to advance.
Then you probably shouldn't become the coach of the Buffs.
Okay.
Sorry, Ryan.
Some people are meant for the bleachers.
Wow.
Wow. Well,
Or some people are meant for the press box.
Yeah.
that's definitely not me.
How many times have you been in a press box?
A lot, and that's
Yeah.
when I realized that I'm not made for it. I think I'm made for the sidelines, guys. I think I was born to lead the Buffs.
Like wrapping ankles or something?
Yep. It would be sick that you guys get to have like a local college coach on your show like
That would be-
a couple times a week.
Every day. 5 times a week.
They're like,
You're not getting out of this, bud.
they're like, hey, we got a line on a 4-star recruit in Louisiana. I'm like, sorry guys, I got the Broncos spot. Thursday night football this week. We're kind of speeding up the process.
Exactly. You could be there Saturday.
Yeah.
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 Call up Rick George right now and say like, "I'll take the job, but here are my conditions."
What do you like? Do you think you would have to at least think about it if I was like, I'll take the job for free?
No, no.
All right, we'll have to see. I'll do it pro bono.
That's
Of
like
course.
no, that's even worse. That's like when the Broncos trade a 4th-round pick for Joe Flacco. You're like, no, don't bargain shop for a quarterback. Don't bargain shop for your head coach.
No, that's a lot of credit calling him the Joe Flacco of coaches.
I'm just entering my prime, baby.
You're like I don't know who the quarterback at East High School over there is. That's the comp.
Do you like that? Will you take
No,
it?
I just think you're wrong. I have 6 Madden Super Bowls to show for it.
It's a shame we'll never find out.
Well, I would never say never. Okay, so there's a game in like a couple hours.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Broncos-Colts merely a few hours away.
Oh, about 52 hours away.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
What
about a few.
math?
I don't know.
Jeez.
I think no, 51 technically.
51 and a half though.
Yeah. Yeah, 51 in 7 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very soon. That is very soon.
I think
is.
that does qualify as very soon.
And
Considering we're literally 40.
Oh, you lost the crown.
46 hours from the last game. We're still closer to the Raiders game than we are to the Colts game. Crazy.
When does that change?
they're also
Another math
that
question.
changes in like 2.5 hours.
this evening.
Wow, maybe we'll still be here.
Yeah.
We could be, depending on how many super chats we get them started.
Yeah, Gregory.
And this is just such a massive swing game. Not just for the record. Like the record is what it is, and we can do the whole Peyton Manning started 2-3 thing till the cows come home. But really for the vibes, like this fan base is in a dark place right now. We desperately need the Broncos to perform on Thursday night, and at the very least scrape out a win. If it's not going to be pretty, that's still going to cause issues. But
It'll be a lot better, though.
it'll be a lot better than this team being
Yep.
2-3. And that, to me, it's kind of silly to even say it because it doesn't seem like it should matter, but it kind of does. Like the feeling around the city and the team needs some serious rehab right now.
Especially when there's 12 days between this game and the following game, and that following game, a division game. And the Broncos have not had a game where they've won and you feel great about it coming out after. The Texans, that one honestly felt like a loss. That potentially maybe felt worse than the Raiders. That maybe was the worst feeling game, and that was a win. And then the 49ers game, the offense only puts up 9 points. The defense has to get a safety to put them over the top. So there has not been that game yet where the Broncos have felt good. And when you look back at it, Texans aren't very good. Seahawks aren't very good. Maybe the 49ers are better than we thought.
They are good.
And the Raiders,
They're good.
Unfortunately, that was their first win.
Yep. Yeah. It's. I think they deserve a little more credit for the 49ers win, especially after last night. The 49ers have given up 7, 11, and 9 points in their last 3 games. The Broncos were the 11. That was enough to win.
Yep.
That game, I think, is going to be like a fine wine. It's only going to get better and better as the season goes on.
I said that about the Texans game. I want to flip that to the 49ers game. Yeah.
I'm going to push back against that. I think the further we get, the more that's going to be perceived the case because, one, the 49ers are going to be better. But we were all spot on that the 49ers with Jimmy G this year are a much better team than the 49ers with Trey Lance. However, the Broncos lucked out, I think, and it showed between last night and 8 days ago, was Jimmy G, it took him a week to kind of get his feet under him. I guess almost 2 weeks since he played in the majority of that game before him. Then credit to the Broncos defense. I'm not trying to take it away from them, but Jimmy G, and not just really Jimmy G, that offense looks so dynamic, and there was just zero dynamic ability to that offense. Credit to the Broncos defense, but I think, man, if the Broncos had to play San Francisco next week, I'd be like, gosh, darn it, that sucks. But I think they played him at a perfect time.
In the same way that the Niners are better with Jimmy G, the Colts are worse with Matt Ryan than they were with Carson Wentz and Phillip Rivers, and I mean the skeleton body of Phillip Rivers.
You're 100% right. And how crazy is that Carson Wentz puts their team and their season in the toilet last year, and he's still a much better option than Mr. Matt Ryan, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions through 4 games.
And 4 fumbles.
Yes.
I thought it was 9 fumbles.
Oh, wait, is it?
I think it's 9.
4 lost?
4 lost?
Maybe 4 lost. Yeah, it's 9 fumbles, though.
Okay, I thought it...
It's so bad. They're so bad.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence had 4 fumbles on Sunday alone.
Yeah.
That's tough.
One where he just didn't hold on to the ball. He was just running and just fell out.
Hey, and I haven't lost trust in Trevor Lawrence.
No,
still
those
better
Jags
than your
are on
Matt
fire.
Ryan, Indianapolis Colts, Ryan.
Oh, easily.
It's gonna be quite the race to the finish line for the AFC South.
I don't even know about
apparently
that.
owns the AFC West, so the Broncos need to put a stop to that right now.
Crazy enough.
This Colts team is not good, though. Like I came into today, I saw like the Madden chat saying like, oh yeah, they need to win by a lot. Like they need to win this game by a lot this week. And I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. And then I went back and watched them play last week. Jeez, is that team bad? That offensive line is terrible.
Yeah, they also beat
terrible.
the Chiefs.
They have one good player.
Yes, I mean they beat the Chiefs. That's another one where there's just so much crazy stuff happening. I mean, even that Chris Jones penalty.
Yeah,
Like that Chris Jones penalty
Great
was
call.
the difference right there too. But there's so many. Great call, absolutely. But there's so many little things in that game where you're just like, oh, that's not sustainable. That's more the Chiefs just sucking.
Yeah, the Chiefs were really off that game. It was weird, especially after seeing what they did to the Bucs defense.
Yeah.
All right. I think, again, I always talk about this. It's such an underrated part of football, and it's just injuries. So where are we at with we know, obviously, no Randy Gregory. We know no Javonte Williams. But what about the 2 probably most important players in this game, Russell Wilson and Jonathan Taylor?
Russell Wilson practiced today, so that's his 2nd straight day of practicing. Well, yesterday he would have been a participant, but both days he's limited. But Russell Wilson after practice said he's super confident he's going to play on Thursday and said he's going to have no limitations on Thursday. Nathaniel Hackett still says he's confident that he's going to play, but still kind of, when Russ answered the question, he how confident are you going to play? He said, yeah, super confident. And I said, oh, little voice reflection.
Oh, yeah,
there.
you'll raise the
that's a
voice
little
right before you
interesting.
lie.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, he has to be limited if he's got a throwing injury.
But he said no limitations.
He
right?
said no limitations.
What do you
but-
call someone with no limitations?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Limited.
He says he's going to be unlimited. I think he's going to be probably Mr. Limited because he was limited at practice today. But he seems to be trending in the right direction to play. But I do have to stress this. It is a injury to his throwing shoulder on a short week.
Really hate those. Really hate those. And more than anything, it's just the not knowing what's really going on there. Because we have no idea. Is it just like a minor little thing, like a minor little tweak he barely notices? Right. It's like maybe an hour after practice he goes in there, he's like, yeah, it's just a little sore. Or is it something where every time he moves his arm, he's in pain? Like, we just have no idea. And there's a very big range of possibilities there.
Just to clarify, it is 9 fumbles for Matt Ryan.
Woo.
Yeah. I think the limitations, if Mr. Unlimited is capable of being limited, it would be running the ball. I think if there's anything you're going to see on Thursday, which this is not good, is that you're not going to see Russ take off. And if you do, it's going to be an extremely conservative, none of this diving for first downs or diving for the end zone type of stuff.
And I'm completely fine with that. In fact, even moving forward, be conservative, slide, only dive for the end zone like you did when you absolutely have to have it. And honestly, the Broncos didn't absolutely have to have Russell Wilson dive for the end zone like he did against the Raiders. They could have lived to see another down. Now, maybe another fumble happens, but it's those things where Russ just has to be smart moving forward. But do you guys, would you be concerned about his ability to throw the deep ball? And I'm not saying 20, 30 yards, but the home run, moon ball, Russ vintage.
I'm not.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where once you get it loosened up and get it warm, it's not going to be an issue. It's going to be very sore before. It's going to be very sore after. Thankfully, you have 12 days afterwards. But I think once you get that thing moving, you can throw the ball.
I hope so. As soon as you see him warm-ups, just him throw those fast balls, you could throw every concern out. But I do want to see it before I can say I'm not concerned.
I really want them to complete one of those like crazy lollipop missiles into the air that he tried one the other day to Judy. It's not the long ball. Mm-hmm. It's the one where it's like 20 yards, but he wants to give the receiver time to run across the field and run over. He just like launches it into the air. He did it so much in college and a lot early in his career, and they've like missed it a couple of times.
Was that the Graham Glasgow or one of the Garrett Bowles holding penalties that negated that play?
Could have been anyone.
So dumb. It's so frustrating.
Unfortunately, too many to remember.
Wouldn't have mattered if it worked.
And speaking of that, on the injury front, Quinn Meinert's not practicing.
He's not playing. He's not playing this week. You have Quinn Meinerz. That's the biggest name out there. Yep. Billy Turner, again, he's on a side field, not working with the team. I said last week, and I think we all agreed, we just have no expectations for Billy Turner at this point. No idea if he's going to be back for the Chargers game or anytime before the bye, honestly.
Or after.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, this is the right move with like Quinn and guys like that, just because you're essentially buying a whole bye week after this game. Now, with Russell Wilson, it's just different because it makes such an impact on the outcome of the game. And like I said before, when the starting quarterback can play, they will play. I mean, as much as we criticize the Chargers for it, it's what happened, right? If the starting quarterback can get out there, if he can even get close, even if he's maybe feeling 50%, they're probably going to play.
And really quick on the Chargers, they went 1-1 in their past 2 games. Obviously, Justin Herbert's still dealing with that injury. Right now, if I said Broncos can go 1-1 in these next 2 games, are you taking it or leaving it?
Taking it.
I'm leaving it.
Really?
I'm leaving it as well. And the reason is they really should win tomorrow. And if they don't, they're probably not going to be 500 this year. I mean, that's going to show kind of where they are. Now, unless they come back and pull off what would then be a sizable upset maybe against the Chargers. But I'm leaving it because I think they're going to win tomorrow. And then
Thursday.
Yes, Thursday. That gives them a shot on Monday night to go 2-0.
That's fair. Just give me 3-2, and that gives you 3 more weeks before you play a game, and hopefully you're growing and developing, all that sort of stuff, and you get a better team on the field at that point. Give me 3-2 at that point.
But then you'd be
3-3.
You'd be taking 1 and
You'd be taking
3-3.
3-3.
Yep, that'd be 3-3.
Okay.
3-3
Sure.
going into
The Jets.
Oh, okay.
Jets,
They're
then
still-
Jags.
Jets at home, then Jags.
The London game feels so close. It does not feel like there's 3 games between now and then.
The Jets game is the forgotten game of the season.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
God.
just you,
Yeah.
Ryan.
All right. Shall we get into or any other? Oh, Jonathan Taylor.
Yes, Jonathan Taylor, somehow, if he really has a high ankle sprain, that's just crazy because once again this morning, Frank Wright made it clear that Jonathan Taylor has not been ruled out. He still has a chance to play on Thursday, and they said his ankle won't get worse. They don't think his ankle will get worse if he plays on Thursday, but for a second straight day, he did not practice on their injury report.
Yeah, I mean, I know it doesn't feel like it matters. It's like if he's out there, that's scary. If he's not, then it feels a lot better. I really don't think if he plays, he's going to be the true Jonathan Taylor that people that is one of the better running backs in the league.
You know what's crazy? Typically, when you talk to the Broncos coaching staff about an opposing player, and you say a guy that's questionable like Jonathan Taylor, and you say how important is this guy? How much does this guy's absence or presence in a game change the game? What do they say? I mean, what they say is, he's a good player, but their backup's really good too, and their system's good, and so it's not going to impact us. Both Nathaniel Hackett and Ajira Evero both said today, oh, Jonathan Taylor's a really good player. They're really missing something if they don't have him. That shows just how good Jonathan Taylor is. But you're right, Ryan, there's no way he's going to be 100% if he plays. And honestly, this year, Jonathan Taylor, he's still a really good player. I'm not taking it away from him.
22nd in the league in rushing yards.
Yeah, and averaging, is it under 4 yards per carry or right at 4 yards per carry? He has not been special. Now, again, not on him.
He also started the exact same way last year. First
Okay.
4 weeks of the season, he was 21st last year.
What did he do 5th game?
I'm sure he went insane.
I have the numbers, though. 20 carries for 42 yards last week.
Yeah,
The week before, 21 carries for 71 yards.
and that's healthy.
Yeah, that's 2.7 yards per carry over the last 2 weeks. That
And that's
offensive line
still-
is terrible.
And it's still their best option. to
Yeah,
give him
oh,
the ball.
totally.
Yeah,
He's the only talented player on that offense.
Yeah, without a doubt. So
Michael Pittman.
Pittman, yeah.
it really is a big deal, a huge deal. Just like the
Yeah.
Broncos coaches said, if he doesn't play, even though he still won't be himself.
Yep. 100%.
He's out there breaking tackles, like making guys miss, getting the edge, like one-on-one when there's a defender there, and still comes out with those numbers.
So is it crazy to pose the question to you guys? One's a quarterback, one's a running back. Who's more important for their team on Thursday night? Russell Wilson or Jonathan Taylor?
To me, it's Russell Wilson by a pretty wide margin.
Okay.
It's just he is the heartbeat of the team. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I think the Colts have a better chance of winning without Jonathan Taylor than the Broncos have without Russell Wilson. And it just comes down to like it's football. One's the quarterback.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I agree. I agree with you. But just posing that question kind of shows you how important those guys are. One more update on the injury front really quick. Actually, 2 quick ones. Randy Gregory, we feared it, but he is going on the injured reserve. He's out at least 4 weeks, which means he won't be back until after the bye week. Probably the right move instead of rushing him back before a London game, a weird atmosphere, a different field, just a weird game. Give him that extra week off. So the earliest you're going to see him is right after the bye against the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry. So a blow, but now this is Baron Browning's time to show if he's a real deal or not.
And
Nick Benito.
yes, also they haven't filled that roster spot yet. And so that part's still up in the air. We're talking today, it's probably Kendall Hinton. You just elevate him given that he's getting elevated all the time because he's hit his max, right?
Yep.
For being elevated for game
Yep.
days. So if you want him, you have to give that to him. But, I mean, it's not set in stone yet.
I don't think that's going to be outside linebacker, though. No,
I don't either.
I know you do have Jonathan Cooper, who does not look like he's playing this week
Yeah.
either, but you
Aaron
have
Patrick,
5
too.
guys, 6 guys at outside linebacker, where I don't think that's going to be where they make a move.
Didn't Aaron Patrick also get hurt?
Exactly. He
Yes.
wasn't out there
Yeah.
today either.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I know Hackett had a interesting quote about Nick Benito today, which was, "Is he ready?" And it was like, "He better be," or something
Yeah,
like that. Which
yeah,
is the
yeah.
answer is no.
Yep, he's got to be ready.
Yeah.
And speaking of a guy that's got to be ready, we talked about Javonte a lot, but what's up with Melvin? Latavius Murray brought in last night, coming off his only game of the season, which was a good one in London. Averaged over 5 yards per carry, scored a touchdown for the Saints. The Broncos signed him off their practice squad because he was just elevated this past week. And will Latavius Murray play? Nathaniel Hackett said that's still up in the air. That would be quick turnaround. I imagine he's going to be active for the game and just an emergency role. I think we're really going to see him against the Chargers in 2 weeks.
I strongly advise against playing a 32-year-old who just played his first game of the season, is probably the most sore he's ever been in his life while not being injured, had to fly all the way back from London and then from New Orleans to Denver just to get there today. I highly advise against playing him that. Most teams get a full bye week after they play in London, not a turnaround to Thursday Night Football.
All right.
Very bad idea. Do not play him.
Okay.
You'd rather have Melvin out there?
Yes.
No. I can't get there. I can't get there.
Well, you don't have to worry
It's just
about it
Why?
because we don't know if Latavius is going to play. But
Cannot play
when
him.
Nathaniel Hackett was asked, I asked him who's going to start at running back. I didn't expect him to answer the question. He did not answer the question. And then when asked how the running back role is going to be divided, he didn't answer that question, said we're still working on it. His offensive coordinator wasn't on the exact same page as him. Here's what Justin Alton said today when talking about Melvin. He said, with Melvin, he's going to carry the load, obviously. We'll have a mix of Boone, and then after that, we got to figure out who can spell and who feels best in that position. So expect a big
Andrew
dose.
Beck an option?
Right. Dude, there's only one other guy on the team right now. Just say Latavius. But so it's very clear. Thursday, it's going to be Melvin.
It is. And I mean, it's like you live by the Melvin, you die by the Melvin.
Oh, boy. And you know what? Justin Alton said exactly what we talked about after the game, or maybe yesterday when talking about Javonte's injury. Melvin Gordon is someone, just like Javonte, that fights for extra yards like crazy. One of the things Justin Alton said is, it's okay if you don't fight for those extra yards. Just make sure you hold on to the ball and get down. And so that's... I think Melvin needs to take that advice. Now, Melvin may not want to take that advice because that may look like bad film and he's a free agent after this season. So it's going to be interesting. But I promise you, Melvin, the worst thing to do isn't to not be fighting for extra yards. It's to fumble again.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will take 4 versus 5 yards a carry if that means, you're getting down much faster.
How do you tell a 225-pound back, just get on the ground?
With
just go down.
With biceps the size of a football.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
That's the craziest thing about him not being able to hold onto the ball is he's so strong. Like,
Yeah.
in just like the literal sense. Like, he's one of the most chiseled dudes on the team.
Hackett
Yes.
kind of gave like a technical piece of advice to Melvin when talking yesterday. He said he's got to tuck the ball up into his body more. So I guess he's just not tucking it enough.
High and tight? Have we never heard of high and tight before? Has Melvin never heard of high and tight?
That's kind of what...
I was looking back on Tiki Barber, and that's the number one that you always hear about. He had an insane amount of fumbles.
Yeah.
It was like 24 or something over the course of 5 years, something insane. And then I looked, even after the whole high and tight thing, he still had 9 fumbles in 3 years, which is
boy.
essentially the Melvin Gordon average coming into this year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, that didn't really. It made a god awful problem terrible.
Right. It helped though, right?
It did help.
Maybe that means no fumbles this week. And then really quick, how important is Latavius Murray? Not for Thursday, but for moving forward.
He gives you a solid option, and maybe more than anything, he's huge. So if you just want to use him on third downs to protect, and because you want to go with Melvin, then you do that, or vice versa. If you want to make Latavius your feature back, although again 32 years old, I don't know how many games he has in him. Like, he had a great game on Sunday for the Saints. I don't think he can carry the load for you all season, but Melvin's also really good in pass protection too. So now you have 2 options there where you're not going to keep if Melvin ends up being your guy, which I'm sorry, but is going to happen. Then you can't use him to protect on third downs, or you don't want to use him for the entire rest of the season. So Latavius Murray gives you an option there.
Yeah, and Latavius Murray's a solid option, but Melvin Gordon, unless there's more fumbles, is going to be the Broncos starter for the rest of the season, and that is just a huge unless. And if he fumbles this week, Latavius Murray is going to be the starter in 2 weeks against the Chargers.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike Boone deserves some love in this too. It's not like he's been terrible this year. He has been terrible catching the ball. But I'm interested in seeing him run the ball too. Like, if anyone's going to be the starter that's not Melvin on Thursday night, which it's not happening, it should be Mike Boone. Like, why not try it for a guy who has 2 starts or whatever, went over 100 yards in both, or 150?
It's Mike Boone and whoever else is there, right?
Yeah.
I'll say, I mean, Latavius is incredibly important going forward. That running backs get hurt.
Yes.
And we'll touch wood and hope that, like, I gotta get close to that wood. It's every day.
We all touched it.
Yes, but odds are, again, really touch wood for this one. At some point, you're not going to have all 3 of these guys the rest of the season. Big touch wood for that. We hope it's not true. Just having competent running backs, it's so important. And knowing what's going on with Melvin, Mike Boone being a total unknown, there's a world in which Latavius Murray is the leading rusher for this season. There's a world.
There is a world. I wouldn't expect it.
Me too.
But the funny thing is, the first step towards that is another Melvin Gordon fumble, which obviously cannot even be close. Like, I don't even want to say the word ruled out. It should be counted on. And so at some point, you're probably going to see him get a couple games. Also, I just want to get this out of the way. There's no one on the Broncos roster and very few people in the entire NFL that can be converted into the Cordell Patterson / Deebo Samuel role.
Especially Montrell Washington. I've seen a lot of people asking for that, and they couldn't be more different. Do you see how much of a beast Deebo Samuel is? I mean, he just looks like
Jalen Ramsey just bouncing off of him last
Yeah,
night.
exactly. He looks like a short Hulk or something like that. Montrell Washington is the smallest guy on the roster.
And Cordell Patterson is also just a freak in his own right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Montrell's too small.
Yes.
Can't do it with Montrell.
No offense, Montrell.
Obviously can't do it with Judy. Can't do it with Hamler. Although Hamler, like, at least he's compact.
Yeah.
But he's also injury prone.
Yeah, you're not putting him
So
in
you
that
can't do it with
position.
him.
Andrew
Yep.
Beck?
There's just no options. And there's no
Exactly.
options anywhere.
No.
They just
Exactly.
don't exist.
No.
Unless you want to trade for Laviska Shenault, because the Panthers still aren't really using him.
Did they not after scoring a touchdown 2 weeks ago?
I don't know if he did anything this week.
Dang.
I did not watch the Panthers play, and I'm proud of that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, unless the guy can actually be a threat to run between the tackles, it doesn't work.
Yep.
There's no reason to put him in the backfield unless he is a threat to run between the tackles. And if you try that with KJ Hamler, bad idea. Try it with Montrell. I mean, he's looked good in tight spaces. Still a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. Like, that guy just doesn't exist. There's 3 of them in the world, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
10. We'll say 10.
It's really true.
Maybe. I mean, we've only seen 2 right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Juju, I'd be curious. I don't think it would work. We're just throwing shit against the wall
Laviska.
at this point, though. Laviska, it's like, I think that's his best use.
And then he's also injury prone. So
And he also
that's why you don't
is
give him
rarely
carries.
on the field.
And really quick, Bomber44 in the comment section saying Albert O. We found out a little bit about Albert O. And actually, this is where Nathaniel Hackett and Justin Out were on the same page talking to the media. And kind of interesting. Albert O. has been non-existent for a while. He played 1 snap this past week, I believe. And both Justin Out and Nathaniel Hackett said something along the lines of Albert O is doing fine. There are games where he's just not going to be called upon a lot, and we expect him on the field a lot more this week. So that's going to be interesting. Albert O kind of has a chance to get out from under it, and if he's on the field this week a lot, then we can say, okay, Albert O is not necessarily completely in the doghouse, but if he's not on the field this week, then yeah, the Broncos just have no plans for him.
Yeah, it's just such a tough situation without, like, you see people say, like, yeah, just put him out wide, put him in the slot. And it's like, well, imagine a cornerback covering Albert O. It would work just fine for the defense.
Yeah.
Like that's not something that they have to worry about.
I mean, you have the height thing.
Yeah, and maybe something works out. But again, like that's not a matchup you look at and say like, oh yeah, we got to get him the ball. But then you also say, imagine a cornerback trying to get by Alberto blocking. Even that, you're saying, yeah, I don't think that this is a fight that Alberto even wins there. Again, I've mentioned this a couple times. I mean, Pro Football Focus counted it as one blocking snap in like 24 snaps on the field last week, which first of all is crazy that you're willing just to say he's on the field, we are passing the ball. Yeah. That was a sack he allowed. There was another play where it was one of those like block and release chip things where he doesn't even get a hand on the guy. By the time he turns around, the guy is a sack. And they didn't count that as a sack allowed. I have that counted as two attempts at a block, 2 sacks allowed. Nobody's worried about him as a blocker, and he can't. I don't think he's that much of a threat as a receiver either. The only reason it's a conversation is because you're kind of digging at the bottom of the barrel, looking at like, oh, is it Kendall Hinton who should be out there? Or is it time for Jalen Virgil? It's a tough spot.
And super quick, one more injury thing. Greg Dulcich, Michael Ojemudia, not 100% official, but those guys are not going to be brought off IR this week. They are not going to play in the game. Could happen, but even if they are brought up, they're not going to play.
Yeah, and it's, again, that same thing of like, okay, well, if we just get through this week, we have 12 days for those guys to get healthy. Dulcich, he's going to be viewed in an unfair light when he comes back because everyone's going to be saying, oh, Dulcich is back.
He's the savior.
Got a tight end now. And I think that's a bad idea to do with a rookie tight end, especially a rookie tight end who didn't play in training camp, didn't play in preseason, hasn't participated in practice all year. Don't get your hopes up. Now, if he goes out there and performs, amazing.
Yep.
Be blown away. But don't go out there thinking he's going to save the tight end position for the Broncos this year.
But Ryan, in the really quick, in the words of Nathaniel Hackett, have you seen his hair, man?
Oh my god! I thought you were going to say, in the words of Nathaniel Hackett, our tight end room can't get much worse.
Exactly, and that's the thing is like if Saubert's like letting guys blow by him, if you're having Alberto let guys blow by him. Andrew Beck has fallen off a bit from that first game. Obviously receiving, but also as a blocker, like there's some misses on there. Like, why not let the rookie be the one who makes the mistakes and hope he grows?
Until he's just worse than everyone else because he hasn't played football in months.
It's just so tough to imagine.
And Jacob says get Montrell involved in the run game via sweeps and pop passes. Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
But that's very different than, a Cordero
Running
or a
back.
Debo role.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Got to remind you guys to sign up for the tailgate this Thursday. Super excited for you guys to come through and hang out with us there. Get off work a little early, come down to the tailgate, get you some Mile High City sliders, some freshly grilled Wagyu beef off the grill from our guy Dev. Breck brews. We got a full bar. We've got all sorts of amazing things going on at the tailgate. And of course, don't miss out on the bus, which is literally the best transportation deal to the Broncos game and back that exists in Denver. $10 on top of your tailgate ticket gets you round trip to the tailgate, back to the bar after the game. Don't worry about paying for parking over there, dealing with traffic after the game. Let us handle that for you. So go to thednvr.com/tailgates if you're a member to get members price tickets, or go to dnvr.eventbrite.com to get your tickets if you're not a member.
You mentioned Breck Brew, and one of the awesome things about Breck Brew, not only do they have so many different delicious types of beer, and it's still Strawberry Sky season, which I love, but Broncos Country Beer, not only is it a good light beer, very crushable, but you get on game day, you get to hold the Denver Broncos logo in your beer. That's the only way. That's what you should be drinking on game day, whether you're at the tailgate, whether you're just watching the game at home, whether you're out of the country or out of the state, I should say, with Breck Brew. You got to get your hands on it. And if you want to find where you can get Broncos Country, go to breckbrew.com, look at their beer locator, and then also the Hootenanny. We've been talking about it for a while. This weekend couldn't fall on a better weekend. Broncos game Thursday night, Hootenanny.
Buffs bye week. I know that a lot of people were worried about that taking up their Saturday.
Man, so much time to enjoy a Breck Brew or a few. So check them out, breckbrew.com.
And make sure you make a bunch of bets on DraftKings. We haven't touched on the biggest news of the day on this show yet. I gave out a plus 340 winner last night.
Yeah, you did. I thought it was going to be that Darren Rovell got dragged on Twitter by DraftKings.
Is that... I mean, it's every day with that guy.
I don't know about this.
Okay, quick story. DraftKings gives out the boost last night on Cooper Kupp. We all take it like idiots.
Yeah.
DraftKings...
Sorry for that. That was my advice.
Yeah, it's all right. We all took it.
I didn't.
It looked good. Oh.
Well,
Get
you
outta
also
here.
took San Francisco. I took the Rams. I had a terrible night. You had a
I took the under.
There was the
so I
player
had that
parlay
going for me.
boost at halftime. I took Debo over 100 and the 49ers win. I was already in big on the 49ers win. It was pretty nice.
Nice. Anyways, they give out that boost. If for the second time in a row it doesn't hit, they also had given out Josh Allen 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Like things that seem obvious.
Yeah.
So DraftKings tweets out, the person who came up with those ideas has been fired. Darren Rovell, not getting the joke, responds to them, they should actually get a raise for all the money they just made you. So then DraftKings responds, good call, Darren. We'll definitely tell this very real person that they have a raise.
That's great.
So good job. DraftKings.
But also the Nuggets lost a preseason game because every preseason game is 50-50 and so plus 340. Hope everybody
It
cashed
actually,
on that.
like in hindsight, made so much sense because
Yeah.
the Thunder have all these like draft picks that they've just accumulated over the years, whereas the Nuggets at the end of the game are obviously playing lesser players.
hey, the disrespect.
So yeah,
Lesser than the Thunder. But yeah, right now there's an awesome promotion. If you bet $5 on any NFL money line, you'll get $200 in free bets if that bet hits. It's an awesome promotion that they've got going. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code DMVR. Get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code DMVR only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
real quick, guys. I've got the local media taking my side for the Buffs job.
Oh boy.
Radio host Sean Drotar quote tweeted me. He said, "Is there a downside to this? We're all already thinking it."
Oh, wow.
Boom.
So when are you expecting a call from Rick George?
I mean, I feel like I'd have to ignore it if it happened on this show,
That's
but
true.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
anytime
everywhere,
after that, I
right?
feel like he's just watching the show, waiting for us to finish up.
Why don't we
Probably.
Rick, just call now. He can take it live.
I'll take the call live.
On air.
Let's
Wouldn't
do
that
it.
be cool? Get it on video? You
Yep.
accepting the job?
Yep. I'm waiting for. I tagged the official CU Buffs football account. I'm waiting for them to like it because I know people. out there.
What's your first move when you're head coach?
First move when
that
I'm
person a raise.
head coach
Yeah, definitely.
is, first of all, I already said this. I'm taking a massive discount for my salary, hiring some of the best coordinators in the country, and then just cheating so hard. Like,
Okay, there we go.
like legitimately breaking every rule the NCAA has to offer.
Even like on-field rules.
Yeah, for sure.
With like having an extra down?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
That's rich in
offense, like
program
rub
history.
route every play. They can't call offensive pass interference on every play.
But is there cheating anymore with NIL?
Yeah, for sure.
How?
Just more money.
Oh, is there a cap?
No.
No, I'm just saying like the NIL money comes in and then you also pay them like a signing bonus.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Money will get you things, won't it?
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm just need help from the I'll do like remember the DNVR World Tour?
Yeah.
GoFundMe. RK's slush fund for paying players.
We're gonna
GoFundMe.
need Kale to set that one up for you.
Wow.
Anyways,
Shout out Kale.
back to the game here, and it is a Tuesday, but on our regular pod schedule, this would technically be a Wednesday because it's our second to last show before the game.
Wild.
That's just like good math by me.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
impressive.
And I will say, getting ahead of this, because it's now Whiteboard Tuesday. Sorry, tough word. I didn't go with the alliterations.
Oh,
Yeah, I figured it was a week off from alliterations
because it's Whiteboard Tuesday. That's
Yes.
smart. That's
No,
good stuff.
that's lazy. That's
No,
lazy.
I mean,
No,
it's lazy of
Whiteboard
us to do
Wednesday
this
is an
today.
alliteration. Whiteboard Tuesday is not.
Exactly.
Also, I can't see the whiteboard because there's a giant light in my face.
I can read it. For you.
So I'm gonna have to let one of you guys take the lead here.
Yeah.
I
Well, let's
looked into the light.
let's jump into the terrific Whiteboard Tuesday.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
First one. 21 Savage. Do you know who is singing the national anthem for the Broncos game?
No,
No way, it's 21
please.
It's not 21
Oh,
Savage.
Okay.
No way
Is it
he
actually a
knows.
notable person?
It's probably a local high school.
You don't know what it
student.
is.
No, they
Hey,
haven't
be
sent
respectful.
that out
they haven't
yet.
said what? 2 days before the game, we don't know who's singing the Natty.
No, but man, we haven't gotten to all the national anthem. I don't want to call it drama, but there's been some interesting people singing it. Not necessarily this year, We've had some interesting things in the past. I'll have to keep score and bring that up on the pod.
When I went to the Sunday Night Football game, no disrespect to Belen de Leon, who did a wonderful rendition.
I don't know. It sounds like something's coming.
I was just gonna say, like, I thought Sunday Night Football would be like just like a Grammy-winning recording artist.
Yeah, that's fair. Last year, I don't remember the band, but they had the drummer for a band sing the national anthem.
Was it at least like the Foo Fighters? Because like
No,
the drummer is Dave Grohl.
I don't remember exactly, but I could tell you this was not a singer.
Okay.
And it was like, whoa, this is a drummer.
Like
singing
Nathaniel
it.
Rateliff's drummer.
Right, exactly.
But let's get Nathaniel Rateliff on Thursday night.
I love that. We'll love that. That'd be great. I mean, you would love it.
Henry, it can't be Kendrick Lamar every week.
I know.
But it can be 21 Savage.
Oh, wouldn't
It
that
also
be
can't
incredible? Could you imagine a 21 Savage national anthem?
That'd be incredible. That would be prime time.
It would be prime time. It would be
Sounds like an Amazon Prime thing.
It'd be like, you know how everybody talks about the Jimi Hendrix national anthem like
Yeah.
60 years later? People will be talking about whatever happens during the 21 Savage national anthem 60 years
I
later.
didn't know you're a big 21 Savage
Oh,
guy.
I'm not. It'd just be
Oh.
hilarious.
They could do a 21 gun salute right along 21 Savage.
He might just bring 21 guns with him up on stage.
Oh, jeez. All right.
All the
Okay.
Broncos have to do is bring 21 points and they're winning this game.
Wow.
And it
that
is
was a great one.
that simple because, guys, I've had a conversation with a couple of people this week saying, "Oh, there's no way the Colts offense is worse than the Broncos in terms of putting up points so far." Yep, there is. The Broncos' fourth worst scoring offense in the NFL. Colts aren't third. Colts aren't second. Colts are the worst
my
offense in the NFL, scoring just over 14 points a game. And their top scorer this year, 20. And they've done it twice. And in
Beat
one
the
of those
Chiefs with
games,
that 20.
they beat the Chiefs. The other game they scored 20, they tied the Houston Texans. So if they get to 20 points, it's all they're going to get, and they kind of have a chance at a tie, maybe a win. But in those other games, their two losses, 17 points and 0. Colts offense is terrible.
Yep.
And that is with a healthy Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor didn't get injured until the very end of this past game. So they're going to be even worse. So Broncos, the offense hasn't been good. You put up 23 points last week. You do that again this week, you're going to win. I'm not asking for 40. I'm not asking for 30. I'm not even asking for 27. Just get 21.
It's crazy that they have a win and a tie and the worst point differential in the AFC.
Yeah.
Like you would think you'd have to like at least have 3 losses in there to add those up.
Right.
Yep.
And then that the win was against the Chiefs. Like, what?
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to someone the other night that like the Broncos had a much better winning culture when Peyton Manning got here than when Russell Wilson got here.
Yeah.
And I was using the fact that they won a playoff game the year before to illustrate my point. And we kind of were going back and forth. He's like, they might have won a playoff game, but it was a fluke. And I was like, that doesn't matter because they believed they were winners.
That's kind of the point. Is the culture like allowed for a fluke to happen?
But he pointed out to me that the point differential of that team was like dozens of points worse than the point differential of the Broncos last year.
Yeah, that's wild.
Just crazy.
That's wild.
All right, what do we have next up here?
Equal shares.
Equal shares. This is where I realized there was just no equal alliteration. Equal
Same shares?
Same shares. Well, there we go. There we go.
Man, that took
If it was
me half a second.
if it was Whiteboard Wednesday, I'd be able to remember that.
okay, I'll give you the break.
Okay. You gotta split the carries equally for these running backs. Go 3 ways. Go 3 ways. Give them all a chance to pop. Just back to the drawing board. Figure out who's good. Figure out who's bad.
You're saying play to Latavius Murray.
Yep, I'm all in. Play Latavius Murray. Feed that man. He's coming off of 5 yards of carry.
Or no?
There have
can
been
say no,
so
it's
many
okay.
people talking about Divine Ozigbo. It's just like he was better than Jaquan Hardy, and that's why he's stuck. It's not because he's the next big thing. And you know what? If he gets his opportunity, I'm rooting for him, all that sort of stuff. But there's not Divine Ozigbo. Not Divine Ozigbo.
You hate good stories. We get it.
That would be a divine story if it worked out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Henry is against divine intervention.
Yes, he is. He is. Hates
But
the underdog.
It's one of those things where it's like, I can't just say feed Melvin. I also can't say cut Melvin out. It's just give him all their touches, reevaluate next week.
So
It's going to be hard to take Melvin off the field when he's carving him up.
So you hate Justin
be
out
easy
and
if he
saying
fumbles.
It could be very easy.
you hate Justin out and saying Melvin's going to carry the load.
I think I do. Like I get it. I get it. Get him into a rhythm, see if he breaks through, and if he doesn't, then next week you make the change. Like, I understand the argument. Give all three of them their touches. Just see what happens.
You cannot play Latavius Murray. That's such a bad idea.
I think you can, because like it's the zone system where you're just reading anyway, and it's all going to be the same schematically. Oh, about the same. I guess not to New Orleans, but to what he's done in the past. He knows how to read from the outside in, outside zone, all that sort of stuff.
Do you know how much time he's had for recovery since he played in that game?
Yeah, he told me about it today. He got back at like 6 a.m. that next morning. He then left at midnight last night.
He got home at 6 a.m. yesterday.
And then got back at midnight last night. Got here at midnight last night, and now he's
probably didn't sleep.
No, he's got 2 days
Either day.
to.
He was probably up with
out.
me when I was breaking down Broncos long snaps from 2011 on Twitter at 1 a.m. last night.
You were going deep.
Yep.
How's sound asleep when you're breaking that down?
Well, yeah, I was texting you guys because it is unbelievably hard to find information on long snappers. I was
not surprising.
That is surprising. It is the information era. You could find literally anything in the world, but you can't find who was snapping the ball for the Broncos to the punter in 2001. That took me hours.
Wow. And who was it?
David Diaz Infante, former Broncos guard. He did it from 96 to 98. So 2 Super Bowls as a long snapper.
Pretty good.
Wow.
Not specialized though. He was an offensive lineman who they just said, "Hey, can you do this?"
Which makes so much sense.
Then they brought him back to do it in 2001, and then after that they brought in Mike Leach, not the one who has hilarious takes about who would win in a fight between mascots. And Mike Leach was the Broncos long snapper. Yeah. He started an insane streak. His one and only ever bad snap hit off of Jake Plummer's face mask. It's really hard to say whose fault it really was. Like, Jake just wasn't looking.
Maybe he put his face in the wrong spot.
We do have nuggets coming in soon, so maybe
Okay, anyways, more about long snappers.
That'll be fine.
maybe let people go watch your long snapper video.
That's what I was getting towards, is you should watch my long snap
it's
breakdown.
documented.
Oh, yeah, I did a whole breakdown.
Wow.
I mean, honestly, we should probably play it on this show, but if we don't have time, that's fine.
Oh no.
It's only like a minute.
Next one. That was great, though. Tee off.
Tee off, yeah. I haven't played golf in like a month. It's really eating at me.
wonder.
And one thing I love about golf is that the ball, it doesn't move. Just stays in the same place
Only
when
if
you're trying to hit
terrible.
it.
Okay.
Same thing with Matt Ryan. Does not move when you're trying to hit him.
Bravo.
Just stands there, and there's a reason why he has 9 fumbles. It's because he's a statue, and he's not getting the ball out as fast as he used to.
Weak hands as well.
And, well, he hasn't had a fumbling problem in his career to this point, but he did have an interesting quote about how he's going to stop this. Quote, certainly have to do something different.
Oh, that's good.
He's on the right track.
Yes.
Could you teach him the tuck?
Has anyone told Melvin Gordon that? Certainly just try something different.
Melvin, Matt Ryan is also having fumbling issues. He said that he has to try something different. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Have you been in touch with Matt Ryan about these issues?
How frustrating is it?
Oh god.
Can you relate after the game about your frustration level with Matt Ryan?
Yeah, so the thing is that the Broncos were not able to just get home with 4 last week. And when I say get home, they weren't even getting close to home. They need to send some blitzes. And it actually goes into my next one. I don't know if it's actually the next thing on the list. Probably isn't. But
We can hit it. Actually, it is.
It is the next thing on the list?
I knew you were going to do this.
Boom.
Man date.
Yes, you have a date with man coverage on Thursday. And you can blitz and you can go man on the outside against this team because, as Henry was saying, they just don't really have any weapons. If you're worried about Michael Pittman, guess what? You have Pat Surtain.
Yes.
And if you want to, you can move him around, and if that scares you, do it. But the Broncos have had a lot of success, and they actually did, in terms of covering the Raiders, have their most success in man coverage. The problem was Derek Carr took those opportunities to run and, somehow carve up the Broncos on the ground. Matt Ryan, legitimately incapable of that. So you can go man all you want. You can send blitzes. You don't have to spy. You don't have to worry about any of that. And just let your guys go out there and lock these guys down.
So Matt Ryan is incapable of moving, is essentially what you're saying?
Yes, he's a golf ball on a tee.
He is also incapable of being a good quarterback this year, and that brings up our next whiteboard.
That part scares me.
which is pick the win. And honestly, this should be a game where you should be able to win in many different ways. But the easiest way, just pick off Matt Ryan. He has been so bad. Not only the 9 fumbles, 5 interceptions in 4 games. Not to go along with like 15 touchdowns. You would probably take that. To go along with 5 touchdowns. In the Colts' only win, Matt Ryan had 0 interceptions. That was the only time that he has not thrown an interception in a game. The team only had 1 turnover. That is so much better than they've been in their other 3 games. In the other 3 games, Matt Ryan has 5 interceptions. That's almost 2 picks a game. With this pass rush, even without Randy Gregory, with this secondary, the Broncos should be able to pick off Matt Ryan at least once, if not multiple times. In their 3 other games, they have 8 turnovers. 8 turnovers. That is so bad. Almost 3 a game. The Broncos should feast on this Colts offense, especially if Jonathan Taylor's out there, because that means Matt Ryan's going to have the ball even more. And you should be getting fumbles off him because he's a T back there, and you should be picking him off because he has not been good this year.
Yeah, I do worry about Matt Ryan, the thrower of the football, if you don't get after him. And yes, this offensive line has been terrible, but it was only, 2 years ago that the Broncos played the Falcons, and Matt Ryan carved them to pieces. Now, he's not the same quarterback that he was then, but he's capable. And so you have to get it. You don't let him get into a rhythm. Go after him. Don't do the whole thing where you sit back and you say, okay, now we have to get after him, and he's already in a rhythm. Tee off on him from the second the game starts.
And the good news is, it's the arm strength that's the big difference, I think, from the last couple of years. And because of that, you don't have to worry so much about the sidelines. You get to cheat inside just a little bit because you have more time to recover outside. And so you should be helping out the linebackers who struggled in coverage when the defense has. That's been the issue. And it's also the deep ball. And so if you're getting to take an extra step up to help with the run game, you get an extra step inside to help out the linebackers in coverage, you just have to love how all of this is adding up.
You do. And we've got one more whiteboard. It is Benito Breakout.
Okay, so I forgot. I did actually have one alliteration. But I do think that this is his week. He's moving up into the Baron Browning role, and who knows what exactly that looks like. Are they going to rush him inside where they've had Baron Browning inside with the other 2 outside? They've been putting guys all over the place. I really think that Nick Benito could be the answer here. He is so fast. He has one move, and it's just that speed rush, which should be fine against these tackles. There've been 4 teams that have given up more sacks than the Colts have this week. The Broncos should have no issue getting after the quarterback. And I think that the speed rush means that Benito should be the first one there. I think that, first of all, that he will be getting some decent numbers this week, but also that you need him to. Because if he's not able to get home, I think you start to have some issues because he's in there in those rush situations.
Yeah, we were all there for when Benito had his breakout against the Cowboys. It'd be great if that comes this Thursday night.
4-sack game.
Oh, baby. And if you want to be there, you got to check out our friends over at Game Time, because this is the game to get like 50-yard seats, 50-yard line, to get great seats. We checked out Game Time yesterday, and we'll pull it up right now, too. The tickets for the Broncos-Colts game are incredible right now, and you don't want to miss out. If you want to go to a game, this might be the best game to go to. Under $100. And look at this. Allie's got it pulled up for us. There's also flash deals on some really good tickets, which are under $100 as well. So if you want to go to the game, Game Time is the place to go. Make sure to click on the link in our description on YouTube. Also, you can click on the link in the description in our podcast. If you're listening to this on iTunes or anywhere you find podcasts, click on that. And the interface on Game Time is so nice. So check them out at Game Time.
And while you're in those show notes, just scroll up a little bit from them after you click on Game Time and hit that thumbs up.
Ah, yes. Really appreciate that.
Crush the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate that. And all right, speaking of appreciating people.
No, hold on 1 second.
Gotta appreciate American Raptors.
We do.
Do that first.
Okay, we appreciate the American Raptors, who actually start their season on Thursday. You can watch the game at 3 o'clock. They are taking on an awesome team down at the Chula. Oh,
Hopefully
they're taking
not.
on the USA, the U23 team.
That is an awesome team.
There we
You're
go.
right.
I was like, well, wait, that's the American Raptors. They're taking on the U23 team from America. I mean, how could you not want to see that?
This has to be called the Civil War.
Oh my
America
God.
versus.
It does.
I think it. If it isn't yet, we just named it. It is the
Let's
Civil
not
War.
name
3
that.
o'clock. You get to stream it.
Well,
It isn't
Oregon and
here,
Oregon State gave up that name, so
They did.
It's up for
but
grabs.
because it's problematic.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so
Well,
maybe
rugby, you know, it's a little controversy would probably help this grow the sport.
we don't need my thoughts on Civil War. Oh, okay. But yes, this game is not here. The games that are here, you get to go to for free if you claim tickets at AmericanRaptors.com. Make sure you're following along with Colton Strickler and DNVR Rugby. It's a fun sport. It's getting into gear. Why not check it out?
Heck yeah.
Okay,
Ooh.
and then Ryan.
Allie wants to reveal something right here. Boom.
Look at that.
Look at that. London,
that.
about 3 weeks away, boys. 20 days, I believe, we will be in
Crazy.
London. Cannot wait to be there. And here is our official swag bag package. And not even everything you get in there, but it's the best parts probably. It's the DNVR London official shirt.
Love it.
The DNVR London sticker pack. I love the Nux Union Jack combo there. And then, of course, you get the collector's edition pin. All of this stuff exclusive to those who buy multi-ticket packages. So get in on that, and you will get the swag bag with all of this and more. Cannot wait to see these babies rolling around
Yeah,
London.
look at that orange too.
I know.
Beauty.
Well, and we decided on the orange because we figure that's what people want to wear to the game.
Right.
Like you saw it in
So
Las
cool
Vegas
with
this
Raiders.
weekend. You'll see it in London. Like that's how Broncos country really makes their mark because you cannot miss it when there's a whole bunch of orange in the stadium. So we went with the orange shirt.
I love it. I love it. And like you said, 3 weeks away. That's nuts.
It is really nuts. So get in that. Go to dnvr.eventbrite.com to buy one of those packages and get your swag bag.
All right, let's hit some super chats really quick. First one from Andrew says, do you guys ever wonder what the Broncos would look like if they hired Kyle Shanahan instead of Vic Fangio? Just a thought.
I do think about that once in a while. You probably have Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Yep, you probably do.
And you probably have had a lot more success.
Yep.
And everyone's unsatisfied because
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is the quarterback.
Yep, 100%. Mike Shanahan, probably your offensive coordinator / maybe offensive consultant. He's still around.
Jimmy G also could potentially be your quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, he very well could be that guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot more fun to be a 49ers fan over the last few years than it has to be a Broncos fan.
But they're still like they're not like a happy fan base.
no.
Like they were doubting all the way through. They wanted to get
Yeah.
rid of Jimmy. They didn't like their quarterback. It's not like they've just been having a lot of fun. Nobody's having fun right now.
It's such a true statement.
There's like 3, 4, 5 teams maybe.
I mean, and they are still Kyle Shanahan. He's not on the hot seat, but he's on like the potentially soon hot seat because it all comes down to Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And what happens there? Obviously, delayed a year, so he gets that hot seat delayed a year. But if Trey Lance doesn't work out,
But they're kind of already through the Trey Lance. Like, by the time he's healthy again, it's like the Trey Lance era is almost over, and you have a new chance to get a different quarterback.
Next year's the learning year, and then the real year is year 4.
and then yeah, I guess, and then you have draft picks.
And they're
again?
probably going to go to the NFC Championship
Well,
again this
and-
year.
and
And then they give
yeah.
him the team option for 25 million, 26 million or whatever, and then they give him the big deal. Or not.
Just
Right.
wait until wait until it gets cold out, and this defense is just teeing off on people.
Man, Nick Bosa, so unbelievably
They're so
good last night.
And those linebackers, man. And
so
Talanoa
fast.
Hufanga. Like,
He's so sick. All you draft pod listeners know how sick he is.
it's actually scary that they added him to that defense.
He's insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's your
NFC.
thought. We just
Yep.
thought about it all out loud.
And then Alvin said, my wedding is Thursday just before the game, so I hope they win. Congratulations.
That's
Congratulations.
awesome. So
Yes.
you're going to get the wedding done real quick and then go watch the game.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be tuning into the post-game pod, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's okay if you miss this one. We'll
Actually-
have it up on Fridays.
Blue and orange tie.
Yeah.
Kind of messed up. Like, he probably thought he was doing the
yeah.
homies a favor. He's like, hey, I'm going to have a fall wedding, but we'll do it on a Thursday so you guys don't have to worry about missing out on football. And then they scheduled the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man, that's tough.
It's messed up. All right. Shall we get to the comments from the listeners?
Comments from the listeners. We'll try to do as many as we can before we're kicked out of here.
How long do we have till we get kicked out of here, Allie?
It was supposed to be 4 o'clock, but
I mean,
I think
That's
If you
we
know
unreasonable.
anything about us,
I
That's
think we do
unreasonable.
4:15.
So we're negative
All right.
3 minutes in.
that's
and
fine.
Let's get to some comments.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. I was on
None
the
of you
page.
are prepared.
I was on the page and then I clicked on.
We live in the moment.
locker,
I got it.
unfortunately.
The count comes in and says, "We don't understand water yet until we look for us in a reflection. A masterwork of me and you, upside down in a pool of piss after a tough loss."
That took a bad turn, just
Yeah.
like Sunday.
Yeah.
Queen City Broncos
I love it.
CLT says a little Tuesday trivia and perspective for the family. We have 3 Super Bowl wins in the last 25 years. Only one other team has more than 2 in that time. 12 teams have never won a Super Bowl. 2 lost it 4 times without winning. Another team lost it 3 times without winning. 4 teams have never been to the Super Bowl. 1 hasn't won a playoff game since 1957. 8 NFL cities have seen their team leave. Can you name the teams? That was every team in the NFL.
I can name 2 teams that have left their city: the Raiders and the Chargers.
Yep.
Yep.
Rams.
The Rams.
Yeah.
The
And-
Colts.
The
The Browns.
Browns.
Yep.
Yep.
The
Yeah, there you go.
Cardinals
Not the
back in the
Broncos,
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Way
Cardinals.
Real
The
ones now.
Texans.
Can we name how about the
no,
4 teams that have never been
Oilers.
to a Super
Nashville.
Oilers.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
4 teams that have never been to a Super Bowl? The Lions.
Yep.
Chargers.
I can't remember. The Chargers. They've definitely never won one.
No.
Right.
I can't remember if they ever made it to one. I want to say they might have made one and lost heavily.
Okay.
But
Broncos.
I
can
should
relate.
know. I should be the expert
You really
on
should be.
what
You
the
should
Chargers
be.
haven't
Yep.
done.
Yep.
The Jags.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. Start with the young teams, the Texans.
But do we count the Oilers?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's a
And
franchise.
did the Oilers?
Okay, let's move on. Too much thinking for how much time we have left. Flamunda cheese. Hola, amigos. Quick question. I just got married, and I'm bringing my new father-in-law to the game. He's never been to an NFL game before, so I wanted to bring him to the tailgate party as a treat. He's a diehard Indy fan. We love football. He just bleeds blue and white instead of blue and orange. Can I count on Broncos country to show him a good time at the best tailgate around? Catch me if you can, Flamunda. Yes. Regrettably, we're very nice to opposing fans.
We gotta work on that.
Yeah, I feel like Colts fans are nice.
It's kind of a two-way street, right? Like, as long as you come in and
Yep.
you don't
Right.
run your mouth,
Right.
Yep.
then everyone will love you and treat you well. Like, there was that picture that came out of there was a Raiders fan on the bus one time last season, and it's like, that guy came in, the first thing I did was like yell at his friend. All he did was laugh it off. He was super nice. He's like, yeah, I was born into this. Like, was able to like go back and forth. Like, it's fine.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm sure your dad is a nice person and not gonna start screaming at everyone like this one Portland Trailblazers fan who once came to the bar.
Oh, that was
Oh,
bad.
nice.
But yeah,
He goes on and says, for a second comment, can anyone tell me why we haven't signed a Ndamukong Suh, especially if we've lost running back power? Why not flex on defense?
Well,
what's the connection there?
It's just like that now instead, because the offense isn't going to be as strong, just go so hard on defense.
Okay.
first of all, because the defense was really good those first few weeks. It's only that this week you'd be like, do we need another piece? And more so is the linebackers who struggled in that game. The answer, though, is the money.
Speaking of
you're
the-
just not willing to give him $9 million or whatever he's asking for at this point.
Speaking of the linebackers, can you go with just Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton
I think
instead of Jonas Griffith?
I think you can.
I think that'll happen soon.
Yep.
I think you're better
If it
off doing
continues.
that.
I think if Jonas has a bad half, you got to switch to Singleton at halftime.
Singleton is just so solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
And reliable.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Broncholic says, hey guys, please talk me off the cliff here. I currently have plans to go to the SoFi game and then come to Denver for the Jets game. I haven't booked the game tickets yet, but have everything else. At this point, I strongly considered canceling though. Would be real excited to meet y'all and hang out at the bar, but this is already feeling like another lost season. Losing Javonte just makes me feel sick, and I can't stand Melvin Gordon. It's so painful for me to constantly watch him destroy the chances of this team I love so much. This is why my only offseason wish list after getting Russ was just to not have Gordon re-signed. Yikes. I truly believe if he wasn't signed, our Broncos would be 4-0. He has fumbled 5 times in the last 44 touches. That's a fumble every 8.8 touches. Rewatching these games, it doesn't even appear that the defenses are putting effort into stripping the ball from him. It just turns into a pinball in his arms when he is hit. Drives me crazy. So what do you think? I should save my money and hope we actually are competitive next year, or come anyway?
All right, I have a lot of experience in this as a traveling Buffs fan. If the result of the game is going to decide whether or not you have a good time, don't come. If you feel like I just want to go out there and experience it and come to the DNVR bar and go to the tailgate and that'll be a blast, and if they win, that's a cherry on top, absolutely come, because I know the tailgate's going to deliver. You'll definitely get to hang out with us. The games are never a promise. So I have learned with Buffs games, I'm going to experience a place and hang out with my friends.
Also, like, the season isn't over. My
No.
goodness. Like, we're 4 games into a 17-game season, and they're 500.
Yep.
Like, they're
Just like most of the NFL.
we're talking about in the Madden chat today. Like, if they play like they have the rest of the way, I think they're probably like the first team out of the wild card. And if they
Wow.
get better, sure. I mean, because right now you look at it's like the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Browns, and the Raiders. Like, those are the real teams competing. That's 6 teams for 3 wild card spots. It's like, I think they'll do better than the Browns. I think they have a good chance of doing better than the Raiders. That game makes it tough. They probably still wind up just outside, but there's also reason to believe they're going to improve.
They've also had a chance to win every single game.
Yeah.
I mean, one was literally a field goal that missed by a foot.
That's why
The
people
other
are so
one was
sad.
they couldn't get a stop. That's the most frustrating one by
Yeah.
far. But it does like I said yesterday, the obituary being out on the team. But as I know, it's really expensive to make these trips.
Yeah.
And so I totally
Yes.
understand someone being like, I don't want to spend this and the team lose. And if that's going to ruin it, then don't do it, because
Definitely.
it's definitely on the table.
That was really good advice, Ryan.
And the other thing is, he said 44 touches, and this is coming from an Adam Schefter tweet from yesterday when he said that he fumbled 5 times in his past 44 carries. One of those was a catch. So there was a catch in there. There is a fumble, but it was a fumble on a catch. So if we're counting the 5 fumbles, you can't just count the 44 carries. You have to throw in all the catches as well, which does it matter? No, not really. But
it is
it does.
an unfair stat.
Exactly. It's not once every 8. It's once every like 12 or something.
Well, maybe Broncolic will feel the way Melvin Bronco does. He says, my boys, I'm starting to feel a little better. Does the 49ers win over the Raiders elevate the 49ers to genuine contenders, which makes us capable of matching it with the NFC's best? While Denver's best might not have arrived yet, there is hope, but we're still a long way from pushing the Bills and Chiefs. My head is spinning. One day, the depths of despair. The next, hope. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean, I tried, I tweeted it out last night that that win over the 49ers is a legit win.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going, like I said earlier, I think it's only going to get better with time. It's just the Broncos might be better suited to play in the NFC, because that's the style of play like that you can get by with there. Even the Packers, like, they're not scoring. The Bucks, they're not scoring. Like, the Eagles are the only team that are putting up numbers in that conference. So,
And let's just call it
And
what
they're
it
not-
is. The NFC's worse than the AFC.
The only
is.
impressive score from the Eagles is against the Jags too.
yep,
It's like 24 on the Jets or whatever. Not the Jets.
they played the Lions, but it was
That was more.
38-35.
Yep. There were the other 2 games though where it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
I can't remember.
So yeah, I mean, if the Broncos were in the NFC, you'd probably feel even better.
I'd
The
say
thing
they'd be
that's-
in.
Yeah, the thing that's like
Yeah.
really weighing heavily on everyone is watching the Chiefs and Chargers score points.
Yeah, especially the Chiefs. And Melvin Bronco with one more. And our final question says, one more quick question. Do you think the quick turnaround will benefit the offense? They were in form in the last quarter. Hopefully they start Thursday night in that form.
They've very clearly shown themselves to be a fourth quarter offense at this point, which if you had to choose which quarter you're going to be the best in, I would choose that one. You just need to be a lot better in quarters 1 through 3. So I don't think that's necessarily something they can carry over. And the big thing is that Russ has just been played a little more free in the fourth quarter. I don't think you're going to see Russ playing free with a hurt shoulder.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and also there's like 100 hours in between these
Yep.
games. It's not like they're just going to pick up right where they left off.
Yep.
Yeah. I have no idea. I haven't decided. Like, you have 2 fewer practices this week.
You have
Yeah.
0 real practices.
Yeah. And so, like, the game planning, all that stuff matters much less than usual. I haven't decided whether that helps the Broncos or the Colts. I think it just kind of balances things out. In any game, it moves it closer to a 50-50 game, which probably helps the Colts. I mean, I don't. We'll see is the answer.
We'll see. Thankfully, we get to see very, very soon. One more show tomorrow before the big game Thursday. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate everyone who left comments. I know we weren't able to get to them all today. We're on a tighter schedule
And really
than
quick,
normal.
tomorrow we're giving our game predictions. Big update in our survivor pool. Stay tuned.
Oh God! Oh no! I know what it is now. Damn it! I didn't think. Oh, I had.
All right, we'll see you
I
guys
already used the
tomorrow.
Bills.